Ah, beautiful.
Yeah, hello everyone. Arsenal versus Liverpool match review. We lost 2-0 yesterday. Yeah, so we've got Willow, Z, Curran. How you guys doing?
All good, man.
All good, buddy. All good.
And yeah, we lost 2-0. I think everyone knows by now. Um, it was a good first half, I think. Okay, second half. It was a good game to watch, I think. There were a lot of half chances and a lot of transition. What did you guys make of the game?
I mean, look, we all knew what was coming. We knew that this was not going to be a walk in the park. This was very much a case of let's see what we can do, and if we could do it, great. If we can't, then it is what it is. So when you look at this game, you look at it in terms of a whole 90 minutes. We competed a lot. We pushed them. The things that the couple of things that we said on the preview came true. That Nelly versus Trent battle was key. Thiago was Thiago, and he really ran the show for them. And it was just a step too far. I did the title for this one, by the way, and I think that's a perfect way of summing it up. A step too far for us, but nothing to be sort of like, what the hell? It's not that kind of game. It is what it is.
Z, Willow?
To be honest, I'm not like this happy with the performance. I think we went toe to toe with them. I really do. I just think they've got that extra quality that we don't yet possess. I think it excites me for next season because I think if you go and get yourself a quality striker, a quality centre midfielder, and a couple more positions, and like we're really really going toe to toe with the best teams in the world, and we're doing it at the moment with our team. We don't, people go on about our form this season against a kind of top six, and I think last season I think we proved that we can play the top six, but we played a lot less aggressive. We parked the bus, kind of like how Tottenham play and Tottenham get their results at the moment against them. But we're not. I think Arteta has showed it in press conferences as well when he talks and says he doesn't want to change the way he plays. He wants to play as he does. And I think if you get him that quality, you get him them players, then we can go toe to toe with these players, play the nice football still, and actually get results. We're just lacking that quality in players at the moment.
Z, how did you feel about yesterday's game?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like Curran and like Curran said, it was a step too far. I mean, to be fair, we did play like for me the first half. I mean, we went toe to toe with them, and I almost felt like we were the better team. And just in the start of the second half, I know we kind of faltered for like 10 minutes and just gave 2 goals away. But overall, like I was really impressed with how we kind of at least controlled the game. To an extent. I mean, if we go even look at the stats, it will show you relatively that we weren't dominated by all means, and I think it was a change from watching Arsenal versus Liverpool in the past. And like I said before, I said in the preview, I feel like we're very very close to actually, getting a result versus Liverpool. I just feel like it's just the close margins that that kind of give you the results, and unfortunately we do not have the kind of special quality that gives us the extra margin to actually gain a result against Liverpool. But hopefully next season, when we after better recruitment, we get that kind of extra edge. But we'll see.
Well, yeah, and I think we might as well just get into it. So the game kicks off. 1 minute in, Liverpool get a corner. What are you guys thinking when Trent stepped up to put the ball on? Were you guys fearing that? Because we have 121 corners, man conceded. So were you guys like fearing an aerial duel in the box this game, or were you just like?
I'll be real. There was an analyst in Zero Minus just before the stream. There was an analyst before the game that was like, yeah, 100%. White wins like 55% of his duels, and Gabriel's like 60%, whereas Van Dijk wins 70% and Matip wins 70%. So 100%, we're gonna score a corner or a set piece off them. I'm like, bro, have you watched us? Anyone, bro? I can go on Football Ref and can quote some random stat. Like who? That's not analysis. So that's and literally as that corner was coming in, all I'm thinking is bro, if you make me look dumb right now, do not make me look dumb. I can't be asked. Do not make me look dumb right now. Just head this out and be done with it. And we headed it out and we were done with it. So it was calm. But literally that is what was going through my head.
Yeah, the first one was headed out, but the second one was saved. The one from the edge of the one where no one picked him up and he just headed it in the bottom corner, and it was a good
It's
save.
a good routine, I'll be real.
Yeah, it was a good
We
save.
gave him a lot of.
Space.
We gave him a lot of space, though. That's my only complaint. Like, I'm very confident that's the corners. I think Yova's done a fantastic job. I don't know if I've just butchered his name there. I'm sorry if I did, but he's been incredible this season. Thank you, Man City, for giving us Yova. And but I didn't like how much space we gave him. We gave him a lot of space to run into there, and it was one of them ones where you think if Matip or Virgil van Dijk, if they gain the momentum and they're running onto it, is one where you do think they could do something. But when you've got someone like Gabriel there, you just know the ball's getting headed out.
And yeah, so that was the first minute, big chance, big header. It set a tone for the game. I think that, well, I thought it would set a tone for the game. Like, oh no, we're gonna be dominated, because that came quickly. But then straight after we had the Odegaard picking up the ball in the middle here.
I think that set the tone.
Yeah, this set the tone for the first half. I think, obviously, as you can see, it's essentially a 4v4. Martinelli out wide, Laka's trying to bust the gut to get up top, and Odegaard's carrying the ball, and then obviously Saka makes the wide run. And then Odegaard obviously progresses to the point where he passes. And what did you? For me, I think the pass
It's a poor
wasn't
decision,
good enough.
man. It's a poor decision. Just make the simple pass. He tries to be too cute with it. He tries to go behind, and I think that's what Liverpool do to you. They make you and this is going to be a thing throughout the game. They make you take the more difficult decision because you're just afraid of them. It's a mentality thing. They're so good that every decision you make, you want to do, the perfect decision, and that's how good they are right now. And they're not just a decent. They are one of the best sides I've seen in this league for a long, long time.
And I think with his pass, he made it a lot easier for Robertson to do something with
100%.
it, because he put it like it was like a straight pass, so it was a race. Saka was further away from the ball, and obviously Robertson won the race. And it was poor from me. Like, that was a big chance to get into the game and really make an early mark, because an early goal is very, very important and very, very detrimental to Liverpool's plan, because if we score early, we completely change how Liverpool set up. And talking about how Liverpool set up.
As I said, I think it set the tone of the whole game, really. I think a lot of chances, but just no substance in the end of actually making something happen. It was always the last action, the final third, the last kind of passes that were going through, and it wasn't going our way. It wasn't working. I think that did set the whole tone for the game, because we just saw more and more of that. A lot of chances, a lot of good movement from us, a lot of nice build-up play, but just not that final ball yet.
It was almost like there was like one pass too many, really. I mean, there was many times, we got to the final third. I mean, we did all the hard work, but then we go to the touchline and we just basically just make the wrong decisions. And I feel like that was just the entire game, and it was really frustrating, man, honestly.
Yeah, so that was it. And I think on the setups, obviously, Liverpool tried to. This is what I think Liverpool tried to do. They set up in this 2-3-5/3-2-5, and they tried to double up on us out wide. So on the top left, you can see Mane and Trent out wide as a 2, and they tried to double up out wide and create these wide overloads so they can either force on the box or commit someone 1v1, and the fullback is outnumbered. So it was a good plan, and otherwise it would have worked, but we counteracted this with a 5-3-2. Obviously, it was essentially man for man, apart from in the midfield. So you have the back 5 versus 5, and Martinelli was very disciplined in this game. He took a role of dropping in versus Trent and marking him 1v1 to keep us 1v1, so he's not outnumbered. Because if Martinelli isn't diligent and stays in the 4-4-2, Trent alone, and we know he's probably one of the best crosses in the world right now. So we can't concede Trent having that much space alone. So on the setup, what did you guys think? For me, it was a very smart setup and a very smart move to switch from a 4-4-2 at times to a 5-3-2.
It
Mm,
basically cut off the lanes in between the foot. It cut off basically the space wide of either centre back, and we basically packed the centre, so you couldn't have runners like we will get into the second goal. You're cutting off basically space for runners in behind, and you're stretching your opposition wide as well because they have to. If you look in that screenshot right there when we have on screen, the only space is wide of the three, so you're really pushing your team either to not your team, the opposition team to either cross from basically those spaces wide out instead of the half spaces, or to force runners in behind and make perfect passes. So it's very much a case of, look, we need to just basically pack pack the block, see what we can do. And I think the first leg of the Carabao Cup really inspired this. I don't know if you guys think differently, but I think seeing that and seeing how it would work. This was the plan, I'm surprised he didn't go for holding personally. But
No, I think he didn't go for holding to sit in this 5-3-2 so we could still spring a lot faster instead of taking out Xhaka and putting in Camille in the midfield. I think he wanted to spring out wide with Martinelli and Tierney. And to be fair to them, they did a good job of getting up the pitch, but in the final third, I think we lacked a lot of potency because we did a very good job of
mental
maintaining the ball.
fatigue with that. We'll get into it, but there's a lot of mental fatigue. I think Saka in particular was very sort of like, he didn't really understand, not understand, but he didn't really have the ability just to make that beautiful decision, that aggressive decision that he usually does. He just was a step off it today, and that can happen, especially. And if you have that against Liverpool, there were calls for Robertson to be man of the match because of it, and they were putting 4 men on him at the same time. So he's got to make perfect decisions, and he just wasn't on it yesterday.
Yeah, because I think obviously we'll go into Saka 1v1, but him and Martinelli had their chances 1v1. But Willow, what did you think of this setup, this switch?
You know, I think Liverpool were banking on something different. I think Liverpool watched our previous games and they were banking on different like player roles and position rotations of Xhaka being that further up the pitch and the miscommunication between Martinelli and Tierney. And I think, I mean, they do overload anyway on the right hand side with Trent, but I think they were being ultra aggressive with it in that game, and it wasn't working. I think Gabriel Martinelli done brilliantly, and I think Tierney did brilliantly. I thought both of them had a fantastic game. They really dealt with the problems well. But as I said, I think Liverpool just didn't realise what we were going to do. I think getting that change to Xhaka was further back, more in that pivot role instead of being that wandering further up 6-8 hybrid. I think we ended up doing really well. I think it was a really nice change, and I think it got because I think in recent weeks there's been a lot of confusion between who goes, who marks the man, who takes the overload, who takes the overlapping run. No one really knows what they're doing. While when we switched back, everyone knew what their job was. Everyone knew whose man was whose, and I think they really defended really well.
Well, going into the game, we did speak about like if you were to do anything mad, or if you were to do a random setup, we did say we'd go a 5-3-2. Z, what did you think the benefits or negatives of going this way off the ball versus Liverpool?
I think ultimately it just forced us, to kind of sacrifice a attacking player for me. But again, I feel like there was more positives to it because again, we kind of blocked out the passing lanes, especially in between the lines, because you know what, that's where Liverpool are probably the best at passing the ball just in between the fullbacks and the centre backs. Like they're specialists at that, and I feel like Arteta basically, I think it was a tactical masterclass from that point of view, where he kind of threw Klopp back and he kind of he was even forced to even make changes later on just purely because of that setup. So I think there was more positives to it than negatives. But again, I feel like it kind of did make us sacrifice a little bit more attacking in a attacking way, especially when someone like Martinelli was forced out wide. I think he was almost playing as like a wing back at some points of the game, really.
Or I think with the setup, Thiago couldn't exert the same control that he has done all season and was very ineffective in a lot of the game. Obviously, he's a very great player, so in certain moments he'll have certain decisions that will affect the game, and he did impact the game later on. But in this situation, Liverpool's front line had very poor ball retention in the first half, so they couldn't even keep the ball up there with their attackers, with Diaz, Jota, and Mane. And Mane even had to roam around sometimes. He was left wing, or like there was a switch around the 20th minute where Mane went to the left wing and Diaz went to the right wing, just because they couldn't deal with the fullbacks, and they wanted Mane to have more ball retention or trust Mane to have more to keep the ball better, and they just couldn't do it. I think this setup was very good, and we also were in a 4-4-2 at times, and obviously pressing in that 4-4-2 at times. I think Erdegaard's intensity was very good. Lacazette obviously faded early, which kind of annoyed me, and I think he should have been subbed a lot earlier. But I think this 4-4-2 also, which we showed in the game, was just our natural shape. But whenever they pinned five in the front line, we switched. But obviously, going into more highlights of the game, Saka 1v1. What did you guys think of Saka yesterday?
Yeah, no, I think he had a poor game in just by his standards. He looked a bit tired, and I feel like when he at least when he came to the final third, man, honestly, he just kept on making the wrong decisions as well. And I think it's there is a part of there is an element of fatigue there, but at the same time, he must have had some defensive responsibilities which kept him double thinking every time he was making a decision. It almost felt like he was overthinking every single pass he was making, and I don't know. It's just overall, I feel like he just had a poor game by his standards. But we've got to give like props to Robertson. I think he had a very very good game.
He
Hmm.
did.
I will give some positive there, though. I think just to show the kind of level that Bukayo Saka's at, there was a point. I don't know if it's the clip that you're showing here, CK, or if it's a different one. But usually, when a winger goes up against Virgil van Dijk, he just goes he goes towards him and actually takes the ball off of him. He'll just go and do that. Virgil van Dijk gave Saka a lot of space that game. He was not going near him. He was not letting him actually to have a take on against him because he didn't want to get Saka in them kind of spaces to be able to be taken over and be able to be dribbled past. He gave Saka a lot of space, and I think it kind of shows the respect of what Bukayo Saka is. I think he did have a poor game yesterday. He wasn't up to the standards, but at the end of the day, you're playing Virgil van Dijk and Robertson, and you do have people like Cedric Suarez overlapping you, so it's a very difficult game to play.
Look,
I think for me,
Sorry.
before Karam goes, I think for me he was not enough. Like there wasn't enough urgency in his play, and there wasn't enough like directness or decisiveness. Because obviously, on the other side, you had Martinelli, who was a lot more direct and had made a bit more success in his game, but he neither of them showed the potency we needed from our wingers. I think obviously there was at times where he had to press the centre backs, and he was in the front three, pressing with Lacazette and Erdegaard, but and he had to do a lot of work off the ball because we were very high off the ball. But I just think it's probably his poorest big game in an Arsenal shirt, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree.
What did you think of his game yesterday, Karen?
Look, the game plan clearly. I mean, this is not an excuse for him, but there's two things I'm going to say. One, the game plan clearly was to use the outlet as Martinelli. The Nelly versus Trent duel, as we said in the preview, was the one that Arteta wanted to exploit. That was how he was going to get out of his own half, and that's how we were going to progress the ball because he thought, Trent is high and wide. There's space in behind Ramsdale to Nelly, Ramsdale to Nelly, Ramsdale to Nelly, White to Nelly. That was the way we were going. So the aim was to have the block collapse onto Martinelli and Saka be free. The issue I had was basically it was a combination of three different things. So one, Saka just wasn't on it. I agree with you. He wasn't 100% on it. But two, the Erdegaard Cedric triangle that we highlighted so keenly in the first video we did on the Leicester review, we weren't advancing up the pitch. Saka was how much time Saka was isolated on that side. It just left him kind of one on one, and he's going up against Robertson and Van Dijk. He needs, I think someone said it already earlier. Yeah, Rahul said it perfectly. You need Lacazette. You need another man to be in combination with to get round probably two of the best defenders in the league right now. So I think it's just saying, oh, Saka had a poor game, I think is a bit reductionary. I think the game plan was very much, we're going to use the other outlet and we're going to cross to you and switch the play. And so you can get going. And if you're going to have that switch happen, you need your interior and your right back to hit hard so you can actually get past one of the best defenders of all time in this league, and Andy Robertson, who is one of the best defenders in this league. So it's very clear that it's a combination of things. And this is why I really dislike, just going, this player had a great game, this player had a bad game. Well, what were the factors that led to that person shining? What were the factors that led to this person not having the greatest game? So it's a combination of defensive effort, inability of players to combine with, and obviously his own fatigue, mental impact in terms of defensive effort, and the ability to try and get past those two people consistently probably got to him a bit much, and he was frustrated. So I think he had a poor game, but we have to get deeper than that. We can't just say, okay, poor game.
Yeah, I think both. I think both can be true, though, Karen. Like, I think
of course, both are true. My point, both are true. My point is that we have to go deeper than it's just he had a poor game. That's my point.
No, I think we have, though. I think I said.
No, I'm not saying us, like in terms of us on the panel. I'm saying just the general narrative.
Right. Okay. See what you mean.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think obviously he was outnumbered, and I think he was probably one of our worst players, probably our worst player on the pitch on the day. And the other side had a good game. I think with how we played yesterday, whenever White received, immediately Erdegaard and Laka dropped deep, which attracted guys like Matip and Fabinho towards the right hand side. So there was always a cluster of players from Liverpool on our right hand side, which always left Martinelli free, which made him just like the number one option or the direct option, because he was really always in space and always in this situation 1v1. Like, he always had this space to go 1v1 versus Trent. So I think the immediate thought for the team was to go 1v1. And with that, we created a lot of chances, more so in the second half, because I think the first half, although we dominated possession, we didn't really get too many like big shots off that would have resulted in the goals. We had obviously some chances with Lacazette where he just didn't reach in front of the centre backs, so he couldn't. But Liverpool did have a big chance in the first half with when Trent picked up the ball. This is near the end of the first half actually. Trent picks up the ball and he plays just a world-class pass, to be fair, over the top. And as you can see, our line is actually very good, and Jota is off. I think Jota's offside. Do you guys? I think he's offside, so he's not an option.
Definitely offside.
Yeah, he's offside. Yeah, he's offside.
Yeah, but so Trent just plays this elite ball over the top, and White and Gabriel do very well to crowd out Mane and make it very hard for him. And obviously, he skies the shot, but this was sorry, that's the wrong thing. But I think that was a warning. That was a big warning in the end of the first half of what Liverpool possess and what Liverpool can do to us in behind. Because yes, we did well to go against it and defend well against it, but I think for him to get the shot off he got in the box, and as you can see, White and Gabriel are very close to him. What did you make of this chance, and what did you think this meant for the second half? Because this was right at the end of the first half.
I just think it showed the quality that they do possess. You can have a fantastic half against Liverpool. You can defend well. You can have a fantastic structure. But when you've got cheat codes like Alexander-Arnold who can just ping a 40, 50-yard ball like that, pinpoint perfect pass, and you can have someone like Sadio Mane just touch it down with ease, I think it just shows you kind of what they've got in their locker and what they can produce. And I think it did kind of foreshadow what happened in the second half. They just had quality that we didn't possess in the areas that we needed.
Yeah, I think for me, this just showed, yeah, you're right, with the quality, like anyone to pull off that kind of pass with in transition as well, not against no settled block, but this was in transition. And it was perfect for Mane, who I don't think did too well with it. And he did sky it. But it was a warning. It was a big warning because Liverpool were pretty much quiet for the first half since their initial goals with the header and stuff. But after that, they just faded off. What did you make of this chance at the end of the first half, Z?
Yeah. To be fair, look, it was when obviously when I saw the ball coming towards the goal, and Mane's 1-on-1, I just thought the inevitable way. I just thought Mane's going to score this. So it was a bit scary, but it kind of again it just shows how good Liverpool are. That they don't need to be dominating the game. They don't even need to be controlling the game, but they just have this kind of special quality that they can just make one pass, split the defense, and create a big chance really. So yeah, I mean, we saw. I think obviously what Trent did was very good. That pass to Mane. But one thing I wanted to highlight was I was watching Van Dijk very closely as well, and the way he was spraying the balls. It was very similar, man. Like these guys have such quality. Like it's almost like a cheat code, really, and that's ultimately the biggest difference between us and Liverpool at this moment of time. So yeah, man.
And yeah, obviously that was the end of the first half. There were other little chances in there, but I didn't think they were really necessary to put in. And just the first minute of the first half, we got a big warning. Mane's offside goal. That was what, the 46th minute, I believe. In fact, no, sorry. Before we go into, I think this was the best player in the first half. I think we dominated the midfield in the first half a lot more than I expected because going into the game, I thought the midfield is where we'd lose and where we really always lose versus Liverpool. But I think he was, well, at the half-time point, I thought he was the man of the match. Obviously, not at the end of the game because we didn't win, but I thought he was the man of the match. What did you guys make of his first half?
Willow?
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was winning duels. I think he was winning second balls. I think he was relieving pressure. I think he was picking out the right passes as well. He wasn't. I think he had great tempo to the game as well. I think he actually helped control the tempo of what we wanted to play, and I think that's one of our key factors on how well we did against Liverpool in the first half is that we were dictating the tempo, and I think he was controlling it. I think he, when we wanted to go, he was the one who pushed the ball up there. I think when we wanted to slow down the game, he was the one who got the pressure off by playing safe passes. So Thomas was just fantastic in that first half, absolutely fantastic.
What did you think, Karen?
I mean, what people aren't mentioning about Partey is it's not just the ability to break lines with his passes; it's the commitment to his duels. It's not even the ability to win them; it's the commitment he shows. And when you have that, you have the ability to lead in a team because people see that your teammates see you putting that effort in, lifting that effort, making that work rate higher within the team. And people see that. People are aroused by that. That's what leading is. That's how you lead a team. And Thomas was incredible that first half. The ability to intercept balls, break line with passes, the ability to be that beacon in build up, that person that you can count on to basically bail you out in that suffocating Liverpool press. He was that guy. He was that guy popping up and being able to make himself available for passes out of that first phase. And without that, you're lost. They pen you in. They're ridiculous with it. They are so good at just being able to suffocate teams, make you turn it over, and get back on the front foot. That's what gegenpressing is, and he is the gegenpresser. Someone you can actually count on to get out of the opposition gegenpress. So I couldn't speak highly enough about him.
And Z, what do you agree with the statement that he was the best player in the first half?
Yeah, honestly. So every time, I just felt like every time he got the ball, he kept on looking forward to making to try and make that pass and try to pass between the lines. And I felt like it was the first time it was me seeing like Party play like with the Xhaka actually against Liverpool, and it was more interesting because it felt like he had more control of the ball, and we had a lot more. I don't know how to say it. We had more ball retention, and it just felt like we were able to hurt Liverpool in midfield, and it was interesting to see how Party was used in the game. I don't think we played like this in the Carabao Cup in the semi-final of the Emirates. I know it was just like a complete different game. So it goes to show how important Party is to this team, and how much the quality raises when he is in the team. So yeah.
Yeah, in the first half, he had 5 out of 9 duels won, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 passes to the final third, 3 out of 4, so 75%. And yeah, I think he was very good in the first half. And obviously, going into the second half, we had a first minute of the second half, and Henderson picks up the ball. Obviously, Mane, to me, is very clearly offside, and he is offside. But the gap between White and Gabriel for me is too big. I think it was a big issue, the gap between White and Gabriel, because obviously, naturally, Gabriel shifts over to the left so he can open up his body and play passes with his left foot because he's heavily left foot, and White obviously does the same on the right. So naturally, because they're both not White is better is good on his weak foot, but Gabriel doesn't trust himself on his weak foot. Naturally, they have a massive gap, but I think this was too big. Obviously, he was offside and his goal was offside, but he still scored, and they scored from a similar situation afterwards. But what did you guys think of this? That the way the goal was scored rather than the goal just being offside?
Look, it was a chance where you think, look, how they're always willing to do that. They're always willing to have that runner go running behind, and the fact that we caught them offside, great. The fact that we actually had the awareness to keep our line and keep our shape, great. But you have to be on your toes, and this chance should have really, put people on notice that you need to be on your toes. They're coming. This is Liverpool we're talking about. You need to keep that mental acuity, that mental fortitude at all-time high, your awareness at all-time high. You need to be scanning consistently all time. And this was a warning shot. And we saw what happened after this.
Yeah. I don't think too much needs to be said on this because there's going to be another chance like it. But I think a big like moment for us in the game that a lot of fans were happy about was the Martinelli run where he nutmegged Henderson, which was straight after this. Obviously, Martinelli was one of our best players. Probably had a very good game. He had a lot of the ball actually. He was as I said, a big reference in our team for us to naturally just drift towards and pass the ball to because there wasn't so much space on the touchline. But he did well versus Trent, even though Klopp was angry after the game and say that he used Martinelli to praise Trent, saying Martinelli's a great talent and he didn't do much versus Trent today. So Trent is a very good defender, and anybody who says he's not will have to see Klopp, as he said. Martinelli, the defender, he receives in space as always, and as you can see, we're in this 2-3-5, this wide 2-3-5 with Partey in the middle, Tierney out the left, and is that Xhaka? No, Cedric, all the way on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Martinelli receives out wide, and he just bursts into space, and then eventually he nutmegs Henderson. It was a clean nutmeg, beautiful touchline nutmeg.
Yeah, that I was like, my eyes widened. Like I honestly, I literally gasped. I was like, holy shit.
I really didn't know how we even got to this situation, honestly, like how he managed to keep the ball on the byline. But anyways, he managed to maneuver past Trent, gets to the byline, and No one is attacking the 6-yard box.
Just someone make a run, man. Someone make a run.
I just don't think anyone anticipated him beating him, and I think that's a disappointing thing. Is that's what you got to be doing, and I think that's what we lack in our squad is someone taking that chance, someone taking that off peak of, oh, what if he does beat him? Let me get in this position, and no one did. No one took the chance, and no one's got the reaction time either. Like Lacazette will take about 4 months to get there in 3 different planes to be able to get to that position. So it's difficult, isn't it?
But yeah, obviously, Laka doesn't attack the near post, which the striker really should do. And I feel like Saka or Odegaard should be back posting, and Martinelli's pass obviously gets intercepted. But this just showed the difference between us and Liverpool.
I mean, you look at
their second
Firmino's
goal.
goal and you look at this. Firmino's at the front post waiting for that.
Yeah, their second goal. It was very similar to ours. This situation, and they executed very differently. But yeah, this showed the talent of Martinelli. But the issue with me and how Martinelli played yesterday was obviously he was very good 1v1 or had a lot of opportunities 1v1, but like his peripheral vision and ability to look up just isn't there. So there were very many options where he could pick out a better pass. Because this pass was intercepted right at the near post by Van Dijk and it didn't make it past him at all. But yeah, he's crowded out and there's literally 5 Liverpool players around him and looking at him. But yeah, this is the next big chance of the game. 50th minute, 5 minutes into the second half, we already have 3 very big chances. Obviously, Thiago plays a ball back into our number 9, Lacazette. Obviously, Lacazette receives the ball, and when we're in this situation, obviously he's offside for some reason, which I really don't understand. But in this situation, I think it just showed the difference between Thiago of how he's been all season and how he performed yesterday. Because I think obviously Thiago is Thiago and he's a great player, but this is just a reckless pass to play, and it's a lack of awareness for him to not realize that Lacazette is right there. And obviously Lacazette receives the ball 1v1 versus Alisson, and he attempts to round the keeper. What did you guys think of this chance and what Lacazette tried to do? Would you have said for him to do the same thing, or would you have wanted him to try something different?
Do you know this reminded me of the goal he scored against Liverpool last time, except it was on the other side of the goal. Do you remember when he kind of
when he whipped it, when he
turned
ran
around
and then put it in the bottom corner?
Put him in the bottom corner. I thought, hang on a second, we can do something here. Hang on a second, this is it. And then it was not it. I just for a second, your heart goes up, and I love that we got into this position, and it shows that not these other teams, these top teams, everyone makes mistakes. Doesn't matter how many times you. Because I remember when the season started, people were saying, "Oh, we can't play at the back. We can't play at the back. We look so dodgy." Especially, I remember that United game, and people were like, "Oh, this team looks so dodgy coming out the back." Literally, every team has moments where, things can happen, and you can have mistakes. It's just that's what playing at the back does. It's a dangerous mode of getting the ball up the pitch. So it's disappointing.
Obviously, he does pass it back. And Alisson
it's harder than it looks.
Alisson makes an incredible save.
But do you not think he should have just shot it first time?
I do, yes. But he always takes.
You either shoot it first time, or you make sure you get it to the point where you keep running until you're pretty much at an open goal. You know what I mean? Like Ozil versus Ludogorets type thing. Either you do the first touch, or like you make sure that's it, and it has to go in.
I knew for a fact when he received the ball that he was going to take a touch because he never shoots.
100%.
He never does much first time, and it's him. Like he's been very good recently, Odegaard, and it's not a slight on him. Like I think he should be doing better with this chance. Obviously, Alisson makes an incredible save, and he is the best keeper in the world, and he's elite. And Liverpool are thankful for that. But there's the other angle of it, and it does look a lot harder from this angle. But both of the defenders are central, and he could have just whipped it around him and put it in the bottom corner. It is a very hard finish, and I'm asking a lot for him, but you need a lot from him in the biggest of games. Like, this is the biggest game. This is one of our biggest games left this season, and against Liverpool, you need to be clinical. And we said this going into the game. We're not gonna get the biggest and best of chances. So when you do get your chance, you have to take it, because we won't have the luxury of getting 21 shots like we did last game, and we didn't take it. So yeah, it was a big chance.
I think this is like one of the easiest chances you're going to get in the game. I don't think just from Odegaard. I think from Lacazette. I think if you've got a confident, competent striker, he actually dinks Alisson there when he gets it on that first time. If you see where he gets it, I think there's an easy chance if he lifts that ball and he does it first time. I think isn't it? Look, yeah, like there. If you lift that ball and you're hitting that to the left-hand side, I think a confident striker does that, because I don't, he doesn't. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, Lacazette should be rounding the keeper, because he doesn't have the athleticism, the agility, or the pace.
That's what he tried to. That's the annoying thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's never going to do that. Like, he's got weights in his ankle. Like, it's very difficult to do that. But to be fair, like, he should be scoring from that opportunity. He should be getting the shot off. But he still does well to get the pass off to Odegaard. And I think, as Z said, and I think everyone said in this podcast throughout things that Odegaard needs to start doing things more first time, shooting first time. But even when he didn't shoot first time and he settled the ball, you've got the whole left-hand side of the goal to aim at. All you've got to do is curl it round the post. I know I'll say all you've got to do. I know it's a high-pressure situation. There's 60,000 people at the Emirates and it's against Alisson, Van Dijk and Matip. But these are the fine margins between winning and losing the games, and that's what sadly happened.
And yeah, so that was another big chance that I think we wasted. And obviously another potential chance. This wasn't a shot on goal, but as Buller said, Lacazette does have weight in his ankles. So Ramsdale claims the corner. Let me set the scene for you. Right? They get a corner, Ramsdale claims the corner, and we just spring. There you can see, in the frame, you can see Lacazette, Odegaard, Martinelli and Tierney. But even ahead of them is Saka, who's already pretty much at the halfway line. And he sprung, and Ramsdale does well to release Tierney, who progresses the ball a bit, and you can see Saka's occupying Trent and Thiago on the bottom left, on the bottom right, sorry, on the bottom left actually. And our number 9 is making a busting run in the center of the pitch, and Tierney plays a very good ball. To be fair to him, Tierney plays a very good ball into the space, and Lacazette's first touch lets him down. This is another very big chance that we could have capitalized from, but just goes to show that what we're missing in the 9 department. Because we were debating this earlier, like a lot earlier in the day, and I think another 9, and we capitalize on a lot more of these chances, especially this one actually, because this is in transition, and it really isn't Lacazette's strong suit. Like, it really isn't his strong suit, and he didn't even gain control of the ball at all in this situation. But so, seeing this situation, what does it make you guys think of the team and the future? Because obviously in the current situation, we didn't capitalize on.
No, in terms of the future, it just shows this game. This game shows what we need in this team to be a title contender. It showed, 100%. It showed. It showed that we needed a. It showed that we need a better backup right back, because as admirably as Cedric played, say Tommy goes down against Liverpool next season, we're in a title race, he's just not good enough. He's not. Obviously, we need a new 9, and we need a more. We need someone to replace Xhaka, because Xhaka is leaving. If he wasn't leaving and he was younger and he didn't have the physical limitations he does, then obviously he'd be the guy. But all those things are true when he's going to leave. And all this game showed is what we need for a title challenge. And 3 players. 3 players is what we need. With Saliba coming back as well, we have the ability to keep Brook as well, if you want to keep Brook as the backup right back. So you may not want to invest as much in that. The centre forward as well. These are things you need to invest in. But the major thing for me is that we saw how vital Xhaka was, and this is one of Xhaka's best games for us in a while. I don't know if you guys thought about this as well, but
Yeah, he was very good in the second half for me.
very good in that second half. He understood his role. He understood where he needed to be. And my whole fears before the game about him, not in terms of him vacating his space, his zone, to allow Trent to get in. It didn't happen. He was very disciplined, and it showed. It was a great game from him. Fair play to him, because I'm not someone that I appreciate Xhaka and what he does, but I'm not going to say I'm a Xhaka fan. But I will say I had a very good game, and it's this Xhaka that I will remember when he does leave. So fair play to him. In terms of what it shows for the future, it shows that we have the ability to hurt Liverpool, even in 2022. We have the ability to have Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, because Saka wasn't at his best, and he still was, he was offering something. And we had a game plan. And I think this is the major thing to take away. We had a manager who understood how to attack Liverpool in terms of tactically, because the tactics, the outlet ball, the understanding where Liverpool's weakness is, the outlet ball to Martinelli, the ability to make sure he's one-on-one, try and expose Trent and Matip and really hit that side hard and free up space because their block collapse for that ball across. That should be a blueprint for every side. Get your left winger, get someone able to hit Trent in transition. He's just our blueprint. And I hate the term Arteta stan or whatever, but this was a game that showed that Arteta was tactically competent enough to take on one of the best sides in the past 10 years in this league. So that's the main thing I take away from it.
What do you guys take away from the situation so far and what it means for the future? Also, you guys in the comments, you can give your opinion as well. But Willow, what do you guys think these situations so far bode for our future?
To be fair, look, I keep on banging on about this. I just feel like on the pitch we're very close to matching, how the quality of Liverpool, at least when we're playing them. It doesn't feel like we're levels away, but it just feels like it just feels like we're lacking something. And what it is, it could be experience, it could be confidence, it could be quality. It's a combination of many things. But what does make me proud is that every game that I've been watching since Arteta has taken over Arsenal, and every game that we've been playing against the big sides, against Liverpool, against the Man Cities, there's been a demonstration of improvement. We've been, for example, last season, the way we were playing, we were conceding a lot of goals against these kind of sides, but at the same time, we could see what we were trying to do this season. We've made the additions, and in Anfield, at the Emirates, we still played our own way, and I felt like we could have hurt them, and now in the summer, when we make our additions, I feel like we will hurt them, and that's the kind of level of progression that I've been seeing under Arteta, and I'm just seeing with these kind of players. And you can't forget, these players are very young. These players have high potential, and they all have this level of improvement to make. They've got they and in order for them to reach the next step, they're going to have to demonstrate that, especially against the likes of Liverpool and see. So yeah, I mean, it bodes well for our future, definitely.
And yeah, so after that chance was the downfall pretty much, which I think I call it like 10 minutes of bozo, 10 minutes of doom. Like a very poor 10-minute period from us, which killed any chances of us doing anything in this game. So I want to set the scene again. Wait, do I have the right? Yeah. So yeah, Van Dijk picks up the ball, he passes it to Thiago, And I just want you to look on the right hand side of the screen. You can see Jota and Mane are just both standing in the half space, and they're doing this to try and occupy Partey and White. And so obviously, Robbo is going to step and occupy Cedric,
Yeah.
which leaves Cedric outnumbered and force him to make a decision. Does he go into the half space or does he attack the wide channel so there's less risk of a cross? And they do well to force him to make that decision. They do very well to force him to make that decision.
Mm.
And then obviously he makes the decision and he picks Robbo and Mane. If you can look at Mane on the right hand side, he's making a run, and White can't do anything but follow Mane on that run. And Thiago, as I said, he hasn't been so dominant so far in this game, but he's still a world class player, and he'll have his world class moments. And he picks a great pass here into Jota, and Jota receives the ball. And here you can already see everyone in our back line was occupied. So Mane is in between Gabriel and White, and and Salah's in between. No, not Salah, sorry, Diaz is in between Gabriel and Tierney.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the way this goal went down?
For me, it was one of those goals you just think, okay, so they've basically threaded the needle. As I was saying earlier, it was very much a case of if you're gonna do something that's like sort of if your defense is undone by a bozo mistake or something like that, that's one thing. But this was literally eye of the needle shit. This was eye of the needle. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like someone stepped and then someone just ran in behind. People were occupying their zones and then just a brilliant ball went in, and that's what that was. That was Liverpool at peak Liverpool. That was Liverpool quality. And you just have sometimes. I mean, obviously the save, and we'll get onto the save, is a different issue. I think Ramsdale should have saved that, and it's a poor mistake from him. And you have to hold your hands up and to say, as great as he's been this season, that's just not acceptable from him. It's not good enough for this standard, and that's the standard we have to maintain. But he's had a great season, and we have to get behind him. But in terms of defending, like, people occupied their zones. No one stepped. I mean, look, no one in that back. You can't see, for example, I don't know if you guys saw the Emmy. I know you all did. If you watched the Man United versus Atletico Madrid game, I mean, you see how Maguire steps out and leaves space behind, and they don't. This doesn't happen with us. We don't have people. If people do step out, people cover. It's very well drilled. It's not like we're just saying, okay, one person step, we'll leave the space in behind it. If you step, the line compresses. So I'm not upset with the defending here. I'm upset with the ability of Aaron here because it's not what I expect from him.
And yeah, he didn't make that save.
At near post, it's just not good enough from him. And I'm sure he will be the first person to say that. He will be the first person to say that.
One of his biggest weaknesses, since he's joined Arsenal, I think he's been very good, in terms of his handling, in terms of his distribution and everything else. But we did, when we were analyzing Ramsdale, we realized that, when it comes to his near post, when it comes to, dealing with low crosses and just parrying the ball, he has very weak wrists, and I feel like that's something he does need to address. I mean, he's 23 years old. He'll get better, but in these big games, it's those little things that kind of count, and unfortunately, it cost us the goal. And yeah, I mean, I hope I hope he kind of looks back at it and he addresses it for the future, really.
Yeah, like from previous, if you've been watching the whole time, you can tell that on the balance of play, we had more chances going into this point. Like we even had two big chances at the start of this half alone. Like we had the the Odegaard and Lacazette chance, the Martinelli byline run. We had even the Lacazette chance in transition. So we had these three big chances in the first 10 minutes or first 8 minutes of the second half, and then in the 54th minute, bang! Like a guy who was rubbish all game if I'm being 100% honest, he was rubbish. Like, he didn't do anything all game, and just one moment and bang, he scores his 9th goal in 13 games against Arsenal. What is it? His 3rd goal at Emirates this season. Yeah.
And then he gets taken off straight away.
Immediately, like, Salah was on the touchline for minutes waiting
Yeah.
to come on, and he comes on and the idiot cups his ear again. Oh, I honestly, like, obviously there's all the goal in that, but I really hate his celebration against us. I
It
don't
is
know
what
what
it
he has
is.
against us.
Let him have his thing. I don't
Like,
really
this
care about
stupid
that.
thing he does every single time he scores against us. I don't know why he hates us, or whatever it is that we did to him. But yeah, he scored that goal. Salah comes on. Salah and Firmino come on for more ball security in the front line, more ball retention, and just fear. Any team gets scared when you bring on Salah on the pitch in the second half. Like, to have that firepower on the bench and be 1-0 up is fearful for a team. So he does this celebration. Salah, who, if I'm being honest, didn't have a good game himself when he came on.
He wasn't 100%, I don't think, either.
Yeah,
like,
he's
I
not.
know he wanted to.
He got injured.
He's not 100%.
I think he got contained really well, though. I think Tierney. I think
Gabriel, Martinelli, and Tierney did very well.
I think Tierney's very underrated for this game. I generally think he was probably Martinelli was up there best players. I think Tierney was probably our best player that game. Honestly, and I'll say this. I don't say this lightly because I don't think Tierney's been 100% these last few weeks on being like his best. But you know, he had Diaz switch to that side. He had Mane on that side. He had Salah on that side. He had 3 of the best wingers in the world on his side, and I think he contained every single one of them so well. The amount of times they tried to beat him, they tried to burn him for pace, and he outpaced them and got the ball clear. I thought he had an absolutely fantastic game.
I agree. I think Tierney had a great game, and obviously, let's not waste time. They scored again. Firmino came on and scored, and he got a yellow card for his goal. But yeah, we had the. It was weird the way the goal came around. I don't have all the screenshots, but obviously there was some chaos in the box because Firmino was at the byline, and then we just couldn't get the ball clear at all. Like, the ball eventually left the box, but we still couldn't get it clear after he left the box.
I mean, this is how Liverpool do you. This is how Liverpool do you.
Yeah, they're thrive in chaos.
Exactly, chaos, and I'll be honest. I mean, I love Gabriel, but there are times where he needs to just take a breath and I think it will come with time. I think he's still he can be a bit erratic in his duels, and I'm not at the point where I'm like, okay, this guy is costing us games, blah 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 blah, because he didn't cost us a game, and his defensive work is his defensive work. It's excellent. His ability in the air, his ability in winning one-on-one duels, the physical defending. He's a great defender, but again, like Ramsdale earlier, he was a bit rash in this challenge in that first action in that build up, and then it's just a case of getting unlucky. Usually that clearance goes out of play, it ricochets to Robertson. Robertson gets it back in the box, and Firmino does Firmino things. And again, when you have that quality,
and he tries to clear it, and it ricochets. Obviously, Robertson picks it back up. He goes to the byline. And this is the difference between our chance and theirs.
Yeah.
Look at who's attacking the front of the box, right in between he's in the 6-yard box. There's also someone. They have 4 players in the box, 5 including Robertson, but 4 players that he could pass to in the box. And Mane, Firmino, Henderson, and Salah. Salah's trying to make a run to the back post. Henderson is at the penalty spot, and Firmino attacks the front of the 6-yard box, and he scores. I was annoyed at this goal just because it was so similar to what we had with the Martinelli chance, and we didn't the Martinelli chance. We didn't use it to full effect.
Yep.
They have 3 players in a position to score, and we have 2 pretty much aligned outside the 6-yard box. And is Lacazette even in this frame? No.
No, man.
So that I didn't even realize that first time around. He's not even in the box.
I think he's that leg.
Is he that leg?
I think he's that leg.
No,
you
I
know?
don't know. I feel like,
Or
I feel
maybe
like
he's hidden by Fabinho.
I think he's no, he is. He's in by Fabinho. He's behind Fabinho.
Okay,
behind-
so
He
sorry,
is in. He's
sorry.
behind Fabinho. He's just shying away.
yeah, he's in the box.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Fabinho's ahead of him, which shouldn't be the case anyways. But yeah, Firmino scores. Game over, pretty much. At this
Game
point, all
over.
that is game over.
And the last 20 minutes, I mean, you can just sum it up. It was just the game had just petered out.
It was one chance, pretty much.
One chance. I don't think there was
Xhaka
much.
pass,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
just wide.
oh.
And
I just had Thierry flashbacks when that happened. I just thought you see how his body position is and the way he side foots it. I just thought,
It's a similar finish to what he did against West Ham as well. That's why I was so
Yeah.
confident when he got it. I was like, he put this
It was just-
beautifully in the
I
bottom
think he
corner
put too
against
much
West
on it just because of who's in goal.
yeah.
Mm.
No, but this is what I tweeted as well. World class players and world class goalkeepers,
They
they
have
will do this to you. They have this ability, and it's the aura. They make
Yeah,
you want to
aura,
hit.
that-
They have
I have
they
to
make
do
you
the
hit
extra
the most
just to make-
difficult, chance.
Yeah, you do the simple things differently. You have to do.
Yeah.
They try and make everything extra perfect just because of who's in front of them. Like
Correct.
generally, he just put in the corner, but this one you have to just around the corner. Like it couldn't be further away from the post, and it's pretty much 2-0 game over. Liverpool win the game.
Liverpool
And
do
we
win
leave
the game.
with our heads held up high, but we lost 2-0. Like, and Liverpool are now 1 point away from City. So I wanted to, before we go, to talk about two things. Before we talk about us, I think we should talk about Liverpool. So Liverpool entered this game, 4 points behind City with a game in hand.
Yep.
Won the game. Our
1 point.
had better goal difference than City, scored more goals, and now we're 1 point behind City, and are playing them.
And
after
they've just City have just
international
drawn
break.
as well, so that will be in their mind.
They're playing City after the international break.
Yep.
So, what do you think this does for the title race, and who do you think is favourites to win the league? Z.
I think it just makes every game a must win for both teams, really, and I think it kind of helps us as well because Liverpool are probably playing some of the other teams in the top four. That's basically in the race for top four, and they'll probably be in the A game as well. So it just makes it a lot more interesting to see. But I don't know. I just feel like Liverpool will clinch it this time around. I don't know what you guys think.
Willow, who do you think is the favourite?
To be honest, I think if we look at Man City, I think they've been poor since us. I think think ever since they've played, I think in most games they've played, I think they've been lucky to get some of the points they have got. I think against Everton, they got extremely lucky. Everton should have had a penalty and they didn't really create much. I think the game against Brentford, they didn't create many opportunities. And then you saw Arsenal to go play Brentford the week after, and we absolutely dominated them and had multiple opportunities. City didn't create much. And then Palace, they're just slipping up at the moment. And I think Liverpool are their mentality monsters. That's one thing they've always had, is that mentality. And I think at the moment, the ball's in their court. They might be 1 point behind at the moment, but they're the ones who are on 9 wins in a row on the league. They are the ones in form at the moment. And I think I generally do think Liverpool will do it. I think they've got the mentality. Something just feels off with City at the moment. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know what it is. Maybe because they didn't clinch a striker at the start of the season. I don't know what it is with them. But Liverpool, just for me, they're the front runners.
I mean, for me, it's quite simple. Look, I like looking at what's going to happen, and what's going to happen is look, Liverpool still have to host Spurs, with who they did draw against earlier in the season. They still have the game with United where anything can happen. I know they're both at Anfield, and we all hope that they win those games, but those games are still there, had to be win.
Last time it was 5-0.
Last time it was 5-0, but bro, these derby games, these derby games, you know what they're like.
Yeah.
It could be anything. And
not with Virgil van Dijk.
Logically, not with the. I still think, bro. Do you know a bigger Man United here? Do you know a bigger Man United here?
Yeah, bro, he hasn't lost a game at Anfield. Virgil
I
van
know
Dijk.
he hasn't lost a game at Anfield, but I'm just saying,
50
in terms of
games.
like the
The
difficulty
thing is
of
with
games.
that game, they have Man U, then Everton straight after.
Hmm.
So they do have like
They,
big
they,
games.
they
Where
have they
obviously they
have fixtures that are, passionate, emotional fixtures that something could
and
happen.
Wolves final day is a big one
Wolves
for
final
Wolves
day.
if they can
And
get
the other
Europe.
thing, I would say is the City game is at the Etihad, is it not?
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is the other thing. So for
which
me, I
isn't good
still
for
have City
Liverpool.
the favourites. I understand what Z and Willow are saying, that in terms of the momentum, and this is how title races are won. You have a team that you get on a roll, and when one team is starting to stutter, it can really, have it. They can have a big disadvantage going forward, and some things that happen. But and just in terms of pure hard like facts, in terms of difficulty of fixtures, I just put City a bit ahead personally. But that's just me.
But yeah, on this because I haven't said my piece. But Willow was like after the weekend versus us, Man City were 11 points ahead of Liverpool on
Yep.
21 games, and now we played a couple more games, and Liverpool have gained 10 points on them, which is crazy. But since that point, we've played 8 games, and City have dropped 9 points or something like that in the last 8 games. They've dropped a lot of points, and they haven't been the same dominant City. They've drawn versus Crystal Palace. They've lost to Tottenham. Like they've drawn versus Southampton, and in all this, those 3 games have allowed Liverpool to get to the position they are. Like I just want to show the table. On the 4th of January, Chelsea were second. Chelsea were literally second, and Man City here at this point, George. I think it was George. You said like this, the title was done a lot. In fact, let me not throw George under the bus.
No,
Everyone
do it.
pretty
Go
much
on.
said, every football fan pretty much said, "Oh, the title's done."
But mainly George.
Yeah, well, okay. Okay. Every football
Wow.
fan pretty much said the
You
title's
heard me well.
done.
What? And
Man City are just gonna win it, and look at even the XG, they were so
XGD
clear of
and all that
everybody,
stuff. Yeah.
and fast forward now, Liverpool are 1 point behind.
And just to clarify as well, City also do have tricky fixtures on the fact of who they play. Like they play Wolves, who they historically struggle against, and they also play Southampton, who again they historically struggle against. So two teams that they've always had they just know how to get points out of City every year. They get points out of City. I think even this season, actually, I'm not going to say because I'm not actually
No,
too sure
because
this season.
what I'm saying is that Spurs got a point at the lane against Liverpool, so there is precedent
They
in
did
terms of
draw
Oh,
with
yeah.
Southampton,
yeah,
but
and
they've got
in
something
terms
else.
of United, that game is always so charged in terms
They
of
also
emotion and
all
stuff.
have Champions League.
Well, I hope they draw each
Liverpool-
other. Please just draw each other, just for
No, we
entertainment.
don't. I want them to stay a bit longer in the Champions League.
No. I just want them to. I just want to see it happen. If they
Want
play in
them
the
to
semis,
draw each other in
great, or the
quarterfinals
final or
again.
something. But I need to see them play in the Champions League, because there's a
They've drawn each other in
situation
the
where you can
quarterfinals
have them like
before,
3 games in a week or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, that'd be true.
They've drawn each other in the quarterfinals before, and it was a great quarterfinals.
Oh, so good.
But there is a
Oxlade-Chamberlain
situation, I think, around that Etihad game where you can play, where they can play like 3 times in 6 days or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, they still have the FA Cup and stuff. Oh yeah,
Mm.
obviously then for us, to wrap it up, what do you think yesterday's game means for top 4? How
I'll
do
go
you think
last because I've got
do?
quite a bit to say. So you guys go first.
I think with me, I think my main thing is the reaction with this. And I think if you have a look at Arsenal this season, we've never dropped points in ones. We've always dropped points in pairs or trips. So the start of the season, we lost 3 games in a row. Then we drew to Brighton. Then we drew to Crystal Palace. Then you've got the Manchester United loss and the Everton loss. They're back to back. So we've never had that quick reaction time. We've never dropped points and then won a game after it. We've not done that this season yet. So I think we need to change that narrative this season and make sure that the next game we're not dropping points in doubles. We're getting straight back to it. We're getting that reaction, and we're at a critical time in the league as well now, where there's international breaks, so we don't play for like another 2 weeks now. So you want to get that win under your belt just before you go away for 2 weeks, and you can go away, you can feel good about yourself getting 2 wins out of 3 games. But look, this isn't the yardstick for us getting top 4. It really isn't. It never was. You put this fixture in at the start of the season. there's not many people, not many Arsenal fans that go, oh yeah, we win this game. Oh yeah, we get a draw out this game. Most Arsenal fans just put this down to we're going to lose this game, but that doesn't mean we're not going to get top four. Top four is beating the teams below you, not above you. So I don't think we can really beat ourselves up. I thought we played well. I thought we did a just job. I think we just got to move on now, focus on the next game. As Arteta said in the interview, every next game is our most important game of the season. I think we've got to hold that mantra. So you just got to look forward to the Aston Villa game and then the 2 weeks off. So I don't think we can really look too far into this game. We did the hard part about getting the win against Leicester. So now it's just getting the 3 points against Aston Villa and 6 points out of 9 in 6 days. Look, that's top 4 form. You're getting, as long as you're getting 2 points from each game, that's top 4.
2 points a game is title form, by the way.
No, not anymore.
See,
Well, 2.2 to 2.5. I mean, 1.7.
but we have been on
1.9
title
is top
form
four.
with City and Liverpool.
Well,
only
2
being
points.
the
2 points is
teams that team up.
76 points a season. So that's not title form. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No,
True.
No, I'm talking about the last 10, the last 12 games period we've been on title
Yeah.
form. But Z,
Yeah.
what do you think for top 4 and how? What do you think Liverpool? The Liverpool lost us for top 4.
To be fair, like in terms of the big picture, I don't think it really has much of an effect. I think what it does for us is basically shows that if we have that same level of performance against the likes of Aston Villa, and anybody else that we're facing in the future, we probably most likely would get a win. It's just that Liverpool are just world class, so that's probably it. But I feel like in that game specifically, we probably did have the Villa game in mind as well. As soon as the result looked a bit unattainable, like even a draw looked unreasonable to even think about, is probably why we took off Saka, Odegaard, and Lacazette off, just for that game in mind. So I'm just hoping we go into that Villa game with just fresh mind and just give it our all, man. I think like that is a must win because that will basically put us back into momentum, like just for the running after the international break. So yeah, I mean, let's see where it takes us.
CK, you go. And I'll go. You go first, CK. I'm just learning something.
Okay, so with what Willow said, like we don't bounce back. We have bounced back once, actually, Willow. Just once. The other times you were right, but just once we did bounce back. After Liverpool beat us 4-0, we beat Newcastle 2-0, and then we lost to United. But yeah, honestly, I think top 4 will be wrapped by the end of or by this time next month. I think top 4 will be wrapped up. I think yesterday's game just proved how, I think to the team itself, how well we are, how good we are, and how close we are to being to one of the top 2 best teams in the league. I think obviously we have games coming up that are important. I think the news that 4 of our players got called up at the same time is positive news and may help us. But obviously Arteta was angry with the schedule and stuff, with how we've had so much
we'll
time.
discuss that on the Villa preview, I think, and these proper
Yeah.
discussion, the fixture thing, because
I do think Villa is a big game and however that goes. But I think in general, we've got big games coming up and we'll do well versus them. And obviously there's a narrative that we have to surpass with us against top 6 teams and all that stuff. But I just think on form, we've been incredible and we've been the best team in the league the past 10 games. And 10 out of 30 games, a third of the season, you've been the best team in the league, which is a very, very big proportion. So yeah, I think going into the game, we're just going to go game by game and then forget what just happened and hopefully smash Villa and Current to round us off.
CK, can you take this off quickly?
Let me.
All right. So first of all, right, this is gonna be quite a thing. So first of all, the main thing is there are 3 teams in this race. Are we counting West Ham in this race?
I think you have to, but
I don't think so. I think I just don't see them having it. They've just gone. They've just scored against Sevilla.
They're going through.
They're going through. You know what I mean? This is continuing with them, and they're just not having the form, to get to to get into that top 4 race. So for me personally, I don't count West Ham. If you do, I apologize. That's we can have a discussion afterwards. But for now, for me, it's Spurs, Man United, and Arsenal. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the form table. So we're going to look at how teams have done in the last 10 games, because that will give us a nice little indication of where teams are looking right now. So the last 10 games, you can see that we are the third best team in the country. We've won 7 out of our last 10 to get two losses and a draw, 2 losses to Man City and to Liverpool, and the draw against Burnley. We've won every single other game. Just to compare to Tottenham, who are in 9th, they have 15 points, 5 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses, and Man United in 6th with 5 wins, 4 draws, and a loss. The loss to Man City. So yeah, in terms of the past 10 games, in terms of what teams are doing going into this run-in, out of the 3 main teams, and I'll do West Ham as well. West Ham, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. So in terms of the last 10 games, we are the better team in terms of form wise. So going into this, we should have the confidence to be able to say that we are probably the best team out of these teams, because we've played how many games now? It's 27 games, 26 games, 20. I think some of the teams have played. So 10 games out of that is a pretty big sample size. So that's just to start with. In terms of the fixtures we've had left, a Spurs fan posted this, funnily enough. So I think we'll use their model. We'll use the Spurs fans' model because they're so confident. So to pass us in this top 4 race, the Spurs fan has modeled that they will only drop points to West Ham and Liverpool, and they'll win the rest of their games. And even then, to get ahead of us, we have to lose to Spurs, lose to Chelsea, draw to Man United, West Ham, and Villa. And if you look at this, I've said in this tweet, forget the 17 is meant to be 15. Spurs lost 10, 15 points, us 22 points. They've lost games to Wolves, Burnley, and Southampton, not just Chelsea and Man City, but teams that are not teams that you would think if you're going to drop points, you don't want to be dropping points in terms of top 4 race. You want to be beating the teams outside the big 6, and they're not doing it consistently. And the only teams in this model, Spurs would have to win 5 in a row. This model, just take this model by itself. The only teams to have done 5 in a row are us, Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool. That's it. There's no one who's gone 5 in a row. And a team that's gone win, loss for the last 10 games, there's no evidence to suggest they're just going to go on this 5-game winning streak. In terms of the games that we have left, in terms of the games they have left, they traditionally have struggled against low block teams. They're going to be playing against Brighton, who they just won against, fair enough. But Burnley, they've lost 2. They've got to play us. They've got to play Liverpool. They've got to play Leicester, who with Fofana back is not the same. Is not going to be the same. They're going to come back. They're going to have a break, and who knows what happens with that game, because that game traditionally has not been a low scoring game. Anything could happen. They're not coming into this with massive amounts of form, and I just don't see them being able to maintain it. And remember, they need an insane run if we don't mess up. So we need to forget about other teams. Because to get past us, teams have to get this whole thing. The only team, there's no mistakes available. You can't have a mistake. You lose a game that you're not meant to lose, that's it, it's over. Whereas with us, in this model, we have to draw against West Ham, draw against Villa, obviously lose to Chelsea and Spurs. But the point is that they're modeling us to do worse than we've been doing, and them to do way better than they've been doing. And that's just for Spurs. So Spurs is one thing. We're still favorites in terms of that. And then with United, which just again, let's just take a look at their fixtures. Let's take a look at their fixtures and how we're doing in terms of what they have left, because we're going to play Villa and we'll still have a game in hand on them If we win that game, we go 4 points ahead with a game in hand on them, and they still have to play. Okay, let's load that up quickly. I'm sorry, guys. Just give me another couple of minutes. We'll be done soon. They still have to play Liverpool. They still have to play us. They still have to play a resurgent Everton because Everton just won. And that game before, earlier in the season, they drew at Old Trafford. Who knows what's going to happen at Goodison Park? They're going to need points. And then in May, you've got Chelsea. Crystal Palace away is not an easy game. You know what I mean? These are games. And the whole reason I'm saying this is teams are going to have to be perfect to get in this top 4 fight. You ask fans of rivals, they don't think there's a top 4 fight. They think we're the favorites, and if we can somehow, they can somehow luck into it, or we are inconsistent. So my whole point is to lose top 4 from here. Forget about everyone else. Forget about what Spurs are doing. Don't care about what Spurs are doing. Don't care what Man United are doing. If we just do what we do, take the L to Chelsea for all I care. Take the L to take a draw against Spurs, or you know what I mean. Forget this thing. If we do our thing, if we are able to win the games that we are meant to win, no one can touch us. They can't touch us. It's done. So that's my whole thing. My whole thing is forget about everyone else. It's not on everyone else. They can't do anything to us. As long as we are Arsenal and we decide to win the games that we win, that's it. It's over. And I'm with CK. I think this time next month, maybe the Man United game, maybe the West Ham game, it should be over, and we'll be on the beach with 3 or 4 games still left in the season. So that's all I got to say. I think it's quite clear. I think it's very clear in terms of what we have to do. That's it.
And yeah, I think that long monologue from Karen tells you what he thinks about the top 4. I think he thinks we're going to get top 4. Obviously, before we go, I'm just going to update you on the prediction tables. So it was like this, and the predictions for the game were this. So only one person didn't get a point. And now the table is me and Zio level on points. Willow's 3 points behind. So if Willow somehow gets a result 3 points correct and I get it completely wrong,
Mate, all I'm going to say is that how many games have I got in hand?
stop doing that.
Bloody hell. How are you only 3 points ahead of me with all these games in hand? You're basically United, mate. You're basically the United prediction table. It's embarrassing.
I'm going to finish top anyways. Look how tight it is.
It's very tight.
It's
one game.
It's literally one correct result separating.
Personally, I think I deserve 3 points.
No, you don't deserve anything.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I do. Comments. We'll do a poll. Comments, help me out.
You won't. Anyways, yeah, that's the prediction table. George is still top, sadly, and he'll be back after the Villa game. So he'll be back after the Villa game. That's what I'll say for you. And so we'll probably do a space in the international break to speak to you guys again. But yeah, thank you for watching. Follow everybody you see on the screen. So it's me at CK Football, Z at Priv's tweets, Priv Z tweets. Yeah. Willow at the one Willow. Follow at the one Willow, not at the one Willow baby, but at the one Willow. And then follow Curran at Curran BoP on Twitter. And yeah, follow George at GeorgeV_AFC. He just hit 8K.
Follow the Twitter. Follow
BoP Footy, get them to 700 followers on Twitter. And then BoP Footy on TikTok. No, Ball of Passion on TikTok, actually. Ball of Passion on Instagram as well. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back tomorrow. Fucking hell. I know. Back games. Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow and then back on Sunday for the review of Aston Villa. Peace.